Yeah, again, let's allow it. Hi everyone. I'm gonna give a fast lightning talk about how you can use Dart to write a local MCP server. Maybe where do we start? The tool integration problem, as if you have large language models or things like your cursor or windsurf, you had the tool integration, but everything has its own interface. So you just create a big mess because you just have M hosts and N tools. So it escalates very quickly, causing you to not be able to switch, for example, to another large language model because you do not have everything available. So it blocks you. That's where the MCP comes into play. What is it? It's just a protocol where we have one single standard where you can interact with your large language models to add extra tooling to it. Access data, go do some API calls, fetch some data from somewhere. And because you have a single interface, it's like having your USB-C port. You can create an M+N problem. You have a unified API, and then every tool you integrate with, for example, the Slack API, it all goes through the protocol, and you only need to integrate you only need to support the MCP as a host, and as a tool provider, you only need to provide an MCP server once. So, as in the Dart style, write once, run anywhere. What does it look like? You have the host being your large language model, Claude desktop, your IDE like Cursor or Windsurf, which communicates to an MCP server using the protocol, and that can then access your data source or a remote service. And behind the scenes, it just uses JSON RPC, just requests, responses, and some notifications. And you have two possibilities. You have one for your local integrations, which is called stdio, so the standard input-output. And you have the one for the remote integrations, which currently the standard is streamable HTTP and possibility to have server-sent events. With your local integrations, it's for having command line tools, some shell scripts, accessing a local database, simple processes. And the remote one, for example, integrating with the Slack API. How do you write the local MCP server? It's very nice. You create a console application, you add a few simple dependencies. I chose to use the Dart MCP package, which is the one from Dart themselves. It's still experimental. That only supports the stdio. You have also the MCP Dart, which supports both. You can just easily check at the Dart MCP example project, which is quite basic, how you need to implement it. You write some code, you compile the code, which makes it a bit faster. And then you add the configuration to your host, to your large language model. Let's have a quick look on what that looks like if you need to write the code. Make it big. Is it readable? Okay. So quite simple. I have one public method, start server, which creates a stream channel with some close guarantee with the std in and std out as your streams. Some transformers just to support your encoding, you have the line splitter and everything like that. And then you pass that channel to your MCP server. This is just a custom class which extends the MCP server from Dart MCP. And you can add support for three different things: resources, prompts, and toolings, which is what the MCP protocol is made for. And it's just a mix-in to provide you with the methods you need. Your server, you just give it a name, so it's recognizable, a version, and some instructions what the meaning of your MCP server is, what's the actual goal that it should do, so that the large language model knows what it needs to do. Then you have an initialize method, where you then can just register your tools. That's the only thing I do here. It's register 3 different tools I created, so they can be accessed. The tool themselves, also just a name, a description, what does it need to do. You can add an input scheme, what parameters do I need as an input, and then you have your handler, which just takes in the request. In this case, I just run a shell script, it's the Dart version, get the Dart version, it just runs Dart min version. Quite easy. You give a return, it's possible to have an error, so if it's an error, tell it that the call tool result is an error, else just say it's okay. 2 other tools, Dart install pod, which is just with Dart, and then the last one is create a plan2ML scheme for my current project. In this example, it's just hard-coded. It's just a hard-coded string, but that's just writes a file to a temporary directory and returns the file path. You then just compile this with the Dart compile exe, and you can run it. Then in your tooling, I'm using Windsurf here, but it also works with the other ones, which supports the MCP protocol. I'll close this. Which is just the name of my server, the command it needs to run, which is it's just located. The executable is just located somewhere. It's not disabled. You can disable some certain tools if you need to have arguments. You can also run it just with the Dart command, but then it needs to compile it every time. And then if you run it, so for example, I'll use the light version. What is my current Dart version, and it's install pod. Then the large language model, here you see it calls the tool. I'll make it a bit bigger. So you see it called the Dart version and the Dart install pad. And I now get my Dart version, and the install pad also returns the file and gives some extra information that I'm using FVM to manage my installation file. If I say create me a plan2ML scheme of my project, it will call the other tool. It will know it needs to do that if it works. Here you see it passed in a parameter, which was defined in the object scheme, in the input scheme I gave it, where it knows that the project directory is my project directory, and then just returns the plan2ML diagram. That's, you didn't return me the file, but it's just here. So it wrote the file somewhere. Then you can view the plan2ML scheme with some extension, which has nothing to do with this. But it's actually quite easy just to set it up. So it can enhance your coding with things like Mason and having plan2ML or some other scheme generator which does static code analysis. That's about it. Thank you.